What's up, people? My name is Bryan, and I'm too lazy for this. So, this is a part where I tell you guys something about myself. I love traveling. It's been more than a hobby for me. It's been more of a mind release, a soul searching kind of experience. And I've traveled quite a bit in India just on the bike. Would just like to share some of these stories with you. The first one that I like to start off with is the story where I went to Himachal. I basically did the Spiti Valley, that's the east of Himachal, the usually unexplored part, because people usually go to Manali and Shimla, but no one goes to these parts. So I thought, why not try it? So how did it all start? I was just texting one of my surfing friends that I met at Mangalore, who is originally from Shimla. I was just texting her saying, hey, what's up? And she was like, come to the mountains. I was like, okay, I could. Okay, how do I get there? So she's like, if you're really rich, you could take a flight down, or you could just take a bus or a train to Delhi and then take another bus to Manali. And I was like, okay. So I just quickly went on ClearTrip and checked the flight tickets, and they cost a whopping 20 grand one way. And I was like, no way on earth am I going to do that. So I checked the other routes, like, what if I get to Delhi and then take a bus from there? Once I get to Delhi, I just saw the route from Delhi onwards towards Manali, and I was like, what? Because trust me, the routes were so curvy. Beyonce would have got fits looking at it. Jennifer Lopez would have got a complex. So I was like, there's no way on earth I'm going in those routes by a bus. So you know what? Why can't I bike it down? And that's how the original idea came off of, really biking down to Himachal. That's what I did then. So I planned my entire trip. I had to meet a friend in Delhi, a friend in Dehradun, and then make my way towards Himachal. So I'm like, okay, I can do this shit. This was my day one. Usually it's recommended when you go for a road trip, especially a biking trip or something, leave early in the morning when the city traffic doesn't kick in. The main reason being, if you're a biker especially and you're in your complete gear and it's during the month of May, it gets really, really hot. So during the month of May, when it's really hot and you have your full biking gear on and you're stuck in traffic, that can be a big problem. So what people suggest is leave like about 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. in the morning, which is cool, and which I should have done, which I did not do. I left at about 9 to 10 a.m., which was a big mistake because I got stuck in traffic like crazy. But somehow I managed to escape that. Interesting thing that happened, I reached Vapi and I get a text from my mom. Now, the previous day I had taken my mom's debit card and my debit card. Just in case of an emergency, I would have cash to come back home. As fate would have it, I left both these cards at home. And when I reached Vapi, that's near Gujarat, my mom messages me saying, you left both your cards there. And I'm like, okay, what do I do now? And I had about 10 grand in cash, so I could survive till Delhi at least, where I could meet another friend and just do an online transfer of all the money in my account to her account, get the money that way. So I was like, okay, that's alright, it's a minor problem. So I go on ahead. On the way, stop fighting pigeons. Okay, crazy things that happened on the way. So at one point I was really thirsty and I needed water. I go to this beer shop that is on the road. That's the only shop that I see closest. And I go to that shop and I meet this guy. Now obviously when people look at you with all that gear and with your bike all loaded, they get inquisitive and they keep asking you questions. In a way, it's a good thing because that is more like a conversation starter. It helps talking to new people, and I love talking to new people. Just meeting new people, knowing the culture, knowing different people and what they think about traveling. So I was talking to this guy named Nilesh, and I was just telling him about where I am from and where I'm going, the whole deal. I had taken up this thing called love bombing, which is an initiative by Shreya Naik, where you basically give in hearts to people. So it's more like a stimuli thing, If you see any cooking channel for that matter, they're making some good, nice, juicy steak and stuff like that, you kind of feel hungry. So the same way, when you see a heart, you're reminded to love. This is what the whole thing of love bombing was, that you could just arouse that feeling of love in another person. You never know, they might have just called up their mom or their wife or someone who they really love. Just spread a good positive vibe around. So I was just doing that thing. So I gave Nilesh a heart and I explained it to him and he really liked it. I packed off from there. I went a little on ahead, just before the Gujarat border. here, I go to this hotel called as Hotel Cheetal. So as I just park, this waiter comes out and I get talking to him. I tell him about the love bombing thing and I give him a heart, and he is so ecstatic. I mean, when I'm in the hotel and I'm eating, he comes up to me with that heart and he says, I will never forget this. I will always keep it with me, and thank you so much for this. And it kind of makes me feel good, and it kind of makes you feel like a cool person, you know, which I am. I hope so. Okay, after spreading a little positive vibes around, I just go on ahead. Now, this interesting thing happened. I was at a toll in Gujarat. I was just crossing a toll and I had to stop right after the toll because I usually put my spectacles when I'm riding. So I have to squeeze them through the helmet, you know. And that kind of gets the screws at the hinges loose. So I had to tighten the screws. So I just got up from my bike, got my specs out, got my helmet out, and started tightening the screws on that. When suddenly this car pulls up, this guy comes up to me and he's like, oh, where you from? Where you going? I'm this bureau chief of this news channel. And I'm like, okay. And and literally in a minute he takes out like 6-7 microphones which are not even connected, and they just push it in front of me, and he's recording from his cell phone saying it'll come in the news. So I'm like, cool. And I tell him about my bike, my name, why I'm going to Himachal, and what is love bombing. I give him a heart too, and he shakes my hand and stuff like that, which was cool. I mean, I've never been interviewed before. This was not my first solo trip, but this was my first 5,000 plus trip. So it was quite a big thing, you know, just a random person coming and interviewing you. It makes so much of a difference. It does. So this happened, and then I was just thinking about it while I went on ahead. And then the entire day passes through. It was kind of hot in Gujarat because it's during the month of May, and that's when summer hits in here. It hits in the worst here actually. And Gujarat was like maybe around 40 degrees Celsius. My objective for day one was to reach Udaipur, which I obviously didn't manage to do because I left late. And plus the traffic and all, they kind of delayed me quite a bit. I'm totally against riding in the night, in the sense it's completely not safe because of the high beam that people drive in India at night on highways. Like, you are kind of blinded for the entire thing, and it takes a toll on you mentally also. So I usually park my bike by 6-7 p.m. and I rest the night out and leave early morning. So I was planning to get to Udaipur. I couldn't make it anywhere close, so I decided why not stop at Ahmedabad. So I reached Ahmedabad by about 8:30, and as soon as I enter the city, I'm like, okay, because there is so much traffic inside. There is so much traffic inside. And I was wondering, you know, why is there so much traffic? And as I kept going ahead, I just saw these traffic lights blinking like Diwali lights. I mean, they're just showing red, amber, green, and no one is giving a flying fox to it. I mean, for real, no one cares about the traffic light. There were traffic policemen. No one cares about the traffic policemen. When they're asking people to stop, they're just honking and going away. Okay, so what annoys me the most on roads are people honking, like unnecessarily and continuously honking. So I hear this guy just honking his horn like beep 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 beep, and continuously, okay? And there's no one ahead of him because I'm right next to him and there's absolutely no one ahead of him. Imagine that into 30. So like that into 30 vehicles just continuously doing that when no one's ahead. It is so damn annoying. And I was like, oh no, this is probably the worst ending anyone could have ever asked for in a day. It was horrible, trust. That was the first time I've been to Gujarat. That was the first time I've been to Ahmedabad. And trust me, it was not a good experience. I'm not saying that Gujarat is a bad state or Ahmedabad is a bad city, but at that moment what I experienced was definitely not good. Since I said so much about Ahmedabad, let me also tell how good the people are there. I was looking for a room to stay and I didn't know what to do. I was just going ahead. I met this old Muslim uncle who was riding his bike, and I just asked him where, and then he actually asked me to follow him and he led me to a hotel. Like, for real. And not like he was trying to cheat me or something, but he actually gave me a good deal. You know, a city has a good thing, a city has a bad thing. I kind of managed to stay in Ahmedabad for the rest of the night. And the next day I left at about 5:30. I left and my destination was Delhi. So that was my first episode of Travel With Me to Himachal. Hope you guys liked it. There'll be many more of this coming up. So make sure you comment. Make sure you like this video. Obviously subscribe. I'll see you till next time. Come on,